Good evening, YouTube. It is I, Danielle, better known as Danielle, a happy medium. And in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about patience and how having a little bit of patience when you're doing mediumship or when you're talking to the spirit world or, all these types of things will really be quite beneficial to you when you're doing and developing your mediumship throughout the years and for a foreseeable future. Patience is a big thing with mediumship. Nothing happens overnight. Nothing's instant with the spirit world. Unfortunately, the spirit world is an even flow of constant learning, growing, evolving, not only of you as the medium, but also is of your mediumship, your development, the natural development of you. It all goes hand in hand. And all these three or four things all need time. Nothing was built in a day. Rome didn't happen in a day. You've heard the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's exactly the same with the mediumship. Unfortunately, it's going to take time. And no development, no workshop, no mentorship program, no nothing is going to get you any quicker up and on your feet than patience and having the time, the energy, and the ability to keep plowing through even when it's not going the way that you think it should be. Now, I say this all the time on mediumship. You learn nothing when it's going well. Nothing. Apart from you get a good feel of it and you think, yeah, all that hard flog's actually been worth something. You tend to learn the hardest things in the mix of a dam that's going massively downhill, when you feel like you're about to pull out and think, here, I can't do this anymore with my mediumship. I just kind of take another day of it not being right, is when you learn the greatest things about mediumship. You will learn things on workshops and training courses and all these types of things. But ultimately, the biggest learning will give you is this word here, patience. Patience for everything, whether it be patience with your development or just whatever it may be there. I'm not the biggest patient person, but with mediumship, I have had to learn to be a lot more patient. When I first started out, I got to be honest, I was like a dog out of a trap, and I mean, gone, but in the last couple of years, I've had to, my mediumship hasn't slowed. My mediumship sort of stayed the same. There's been bits of growth and some understanding, but there's been so much more growth in me as a person. Now that I've got that, I'm very confident that my mediumship's about to take back off again, and I'm sure there'll be some other learning along the way. But there was somebody who asked me a question, I think on the YouTube channel, I think on one of the particular videos, how do I get things moving? You have to understand that it moves when the time is right, and all you can do in the meantime is be as patient as possible. Continue to keep doing your development with you sitting in the power, or you're sort of watching YouTube channels, or talking to the spirit world, or practicing out there in the industry. And it's right what they say, practice does more or less make you perfect. You'll never be perfect at mediumship, no matter how much you want to be. And there's so much about wanting to be the perfect medium. I would advise highly against that. I went down that road myself. It's not a good road, trust me. It will give you nothing but pain and misery trying to accommodate and trying to make everybody happy. That includes the general public, the people you train, because not everybody is going to get you. Unfortunately, you're not everybody's cup of tea, and I've had to learn that quite steadily over the last couple of years. And through that, I had to have patience. I had to have patience when the storms weren't always as good as I'd like them to be, when things weren't working out in my mediumship as I wanted them to. Well, my life was a bit of we all go through them trials and tribulations where life feels like it's up here one week and then the next week it's like sort of down there, and we just have to roll with the punches. In mediumship, is no different. You roll with the punches. You just learn to where once the punches would have knocked you on your backside, when you start getting hit again, you learn to be able to move. You start to flow. You start to be able to adjust. Does that make sense? So the punches aren't as fierce is probably the word I could use, and you just gotta learn to keep rolling with the punches. Don't get me wrong, I've wanted to pull out loads of my mediumship, loads. I've cried over my mediumship, I've cried over demonstrations, I've cried over teaching, I've cried over all sorts of things, and you probably wouldn't think it to look at us, but yeah, I've had myself in a chew over, I've been in that spirit world screaming like a banshee. You've got no idea, why is this happening? Do you know, like, what are you doing? And they just look at me like I'm absolutely nipped. Do you know what I mean? And I have to laugh because really, you know, it's not their fault. It's just that you are going through the trials and tribulations that is ultimately you as a human, and also what is your mediumship as well, because your mediumship will change. Your mediumship will alter as you move further and further along the path. Your mediumship never stays the same. I'm yet to meet any medium whose mediumship was exactly how it was when they first started out to where it is to the present day. And I am no different. And you've got to learn to have patience when the tough gets going. You know what they say, the going gets tough. And that's ultimately what you have to do in mediumship. You have to be able to stick it out regardlessly. And people say to me, you know, why don't you just leave mediumship, Danielle? Like, you know, why don't you just pull out? And do you want the honest truth? I love it. I love mediumship. Like, it brings so many lessons. It brings so much hard work. It brings so many tears, right? But then there's these small elements. There's like, I'll give you an example. Last year, I was at Jarrah. It's a church up here in the northeast of England. And honestly, of that year, last year, my work has been, it's been come and go. I couldn't quite get it. It just wasn't nailing for me like it had done in previous years. And anyway, I went to Jarrah and I did this demonstration. And I watched that demonstration, and I didn't watch it, obviously the congregation watched it. But I come out of there and I remembered why I did mediumship. I remembered why it is that I got on that public demonstration, why I get up and help them people, because really mediumship isn't about me. It's about all them faces in that room and all them people who took messages from me that night, who went away in knowing in their heart that the spirit world had been there and that their loved ones had been there. And that's enough to keep me in the mediumship movement and even take the punches and the knocks and the hassle and the grief and everything else. And I know that given time with more patience, and you know what they say, don't you? But anything that's teaching you patience is teaching you learning. And this is really, really, I would say that quote's quite true. You know, anything that's teaching you patience is teaching you learning, and learning to be patient and know that things will and does get better given time. So really in this video, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about patience in your mediumship. Didn't give yourself a hard time when it ain't quite panning out the way that you expected to pan out. Learn to just roll with them punches, no matter how tough them punches are. Because remember, on the other side of them punches is another day, another dollar, another opportunity to do it all over again. Learn to understand that it'll happen. The development will come of all aspects, whether it be you as the instrument, your development as a medium, or your mediumship. It will come in just as and when the time is right. And enjoy the journey. And you're probably thinking, wait, cheers, Danielle, you just put me off for life, you know what I mean? But honestly, it isn't as bad as I make it out to be. It's not. There's some absolutely priceless moments, and the journey is a really interesting one. I've met some fantastic people. You know, I've met some not so fantastic people, but they taught me all sorts of things. You know, in 5 years, I'm heading abroad to one of the busiest places in the world, you know, to demonstrate and work. So it can and is done. It just needs time. Does that make sense? But enjoy that journey. I've met some incredible people, and, you know, I'm always humbly grateful for that. So patience is invaluable in mediumship. And I hope this video gives you some inspiration. I hope it sort of makes you keep on going. Don't pull out. Even if you want to pull out, I'll tell you a little story. Even if you wanted to pull out, something will always bring you back to mediumship. Something will always trigger you and want you to look again. I think once you wear for the spirit world, you never really do get away. I've got to be honest with you on that one. Even if you take a break, it's like me with the YouTube channel. You know, I took a break and I was like, I'm not coming back. I don't want it. And the spirit world pushed me massively to come back and to keep on doing the YouTube channel because I was told people needed it. And so that's why I did it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have come back. But the spirit world reckoned you lot need it. So here I am in all my glory. Learn to have some patience. Learn to enjoy the journey. I hope this video is even just a little bit of inspiration for you there, in understanding that the journey I have walked hasn't always been easy, but has it been worthwhile? Yes, it has. And did it teach me patience? more than you'll ever know. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Like, share, subscribe. You know how it goes, folks. And I will see you all next week. Have a great weekend. Lots and lots of love from me. Bye for now.